The most valuable commodity I know of is information. Wouldn't you agree?
Object to the test!
Hi there guys, welcome into another session. Hope everyone's having a brilliant start to the week as the Bitcoin whales continue to try and liquidate each other. We will ride the waves in between, no fucks given. I actually had to stop following that guy. It was painful to watch on the Twitter feeds, to be honest, and a bit distracting concentrating on my own game. Okay, so where have we come from and where are we potentially going over the next 24, 48 hours? If you joined us on the live sessions last week, we were looking at pullbacks. Okay, so last week we were looking at pullbacks from this zone. Potential first areas to look at was this previous value area high, 105, 106 region. We actually came down there and started tickling that zone last Friday. And as we hit that zone, we weren't particularly seeing much bid in the books, much volume divergences in that zone. So running into the weekend, it was a case of, yeah, not going to long this, just going to leave that and let it play out. Okay, and we did deviate a little bit lower into this 103 zone, which is actually another very, very key zone. So we'll have a look at that. But obviously, from the lives last week, we did consider this lower time frame structure break, okay? Very small range forming at the top after the all-time high, okay? We crack that trend line, classic trend line lovers. We crack that trend line, we back test it to the absolute T dollar, okay, on the point of control and down. So very, very valid short there as well, okay, for anyone that caught that. I know a couple of guys in the socials caught that. There was some perps supply pressure on there as well. So very, very valid. So where are we now? We're coming down. Okay, is this one big deviation and we're going to run back up and just attack all-time highs again? Or do we need to review this price action now in a way that we are breaking lower time structure, maybe higher time frame structure is due to break as well? So that's what we're going to review today and over the next 24 hours as well. So join us in the live sessions as well. But yeah, you know, from the video 13 days ago, Bitcoin all-time high incoming, sell crypto in summer and chill. Usually the case. So we need to be aware of that, okay? If you're a sharpshooting perps trader, then it's generally the case that we will trade it whichever way it comes. You know, we will just review it level by level. When we get to those levels, we will review the order flow of whether we want to be a little bit dynamic and discretionary and take a trade, or we just leave it like we did last Friday. Okay, so yesterday morning, yeah, we're forming that range. We come down. Nice to see that we actually do come down to that 103, just over 103, in between 103.5ish there, okay? And we got a really nice bounce. So if you're not following us on Twitter, just give us a follow on Twitter and jump in the trader Discord as well. Posted these levels, and it's always the case, you know, you kind of have these levels in mind that these are the zones you want to play, but you're never really sure which way you're going to go first. So it's nice to see that we come down for that lower demand zone, okay, and then we push up. And I think if we can hold around this monthly open, this 104.5 or 104.6 level today, I think then we can go up and hunt some bears, you know, just over 106 into 107. And then again, once again, we will review the data if and when we get there. So nice to see us with that little bounce. So what we're going to do now is top down view, trading view. Right then guys, trading view for some classic TA levels. Very, very clean chart at the minute. Why are we bouncing from this 103 level at the minute, okay? Weekly chart. Bigger levels, more important, yeah? Weekly chart, we can just see here. We've got some nice weekly levels there that we wicked through previously, came down and failed, so a nice couple of closes and opens around there. That is why we are bouncing at the minute. All I'm looking for at the minute is to hold this zone, okay? As a mercenary day trader, you know, derivatives trader, looking for this level to hold for another run up, okay, and then see if we can attack some supply a little bit higher. It might be the case, just do a classic here, okay, call it 109, okay, couple of weeklies up there, 109, okay. If the supply starts to attack us heavier up there, it might be the case for these spot portfolios that you might want to risk off a little bit, because you might be looking at a bigger deviation down, okay? But at the minute, look how clean this chart is. It's all very nice, okay? So level to level. We're holding the 103 at the minute. Let's have a run up. Let's hunt some bears and see what we can get. Daily chart, clean daily chart as well. There you go. So big trend up, okay? pull through, just pulling back, and at the minute, what are we holding? Daily value area high of this older range here, okay, which is our weekly level as well. Very, very clean. 4-hour chart, you can just see there, okay? So this is our trend. This is where we've deviated down, absolute classic tier, backtest and down, okay, and we're just bouncing now. We haven't had the big V-shape back up yet, okay? The 105, 106 level didn't hold. As we went into the weekend, we deviated lower into that weekly 103 level, and here we are now. So, intermediate, looking for this 103 to hold and go and hunt some bears. Value area high of that old range there. But with that being said, we've got our levels marked. We need some order flow. Let's jump into the trader console.
Well, in my book, you either do it right or you get eliminated.
Let's dive in to the order flow with the trader console, guys. Grab a link from below for a free trial. Don't forget on the website to jump into the docs page and the academy for further education, okay? So we've got some absolutely beautiful T8 levels, okay? Weekly levels, daily levels, very, very strong. But what can we see in the order flow? Because if we aren't seeing strong demand in this zone come in, we're just going to fall and auction price lower, okay? So first and foremost, very, very light bids coming in. Nothing significant, nothing very, very dynamic, but it's been enough to just float us back up. Why is that? Because there's been lack of selling, and we've actually had slight volume bullish divergences. So rolling from the weekend, I said to the guys, look, okay, you don't particularly want to be looking at shorts down here. And even yesterday as we're down here, I said, look, you've still got some volume divs. You've got slightly aggregated book depth. It's not much, but you've got slightly aggregated book depth. Don't look for shorts down here. We rise up. Not much, absolutely not much. A rise for ants, isn't it? 1.5%, 2% or something like that. Wake up this morning. What is nice to see as the open interest remains a little bit low, and we do have some potential depth coming in, okay? Spot order books putting in a bid, 104, so starting to defend the monthly open, okay? So this is our zone we're looking to hold now, and it's nice to see we've got some spot demand here, so some dynamic bid coming in. Perps market, not too much to see. We had actually lost quite a bit of depth there. And if you were to look at the perps market, you know, you'd look at this 97k and go, yep, that's where we're going. But in actual fact, that's quite a high percentage away. If you're looking at that, you're probably going to be sat on your hands for a long time waiting for it, okay? For me, I think we hold this zone in the coming 24, 48 hours. I say I think. It's not always what the market gives us, okay? But I think we hold this zone in the coming 24, 48 hours and we rise up and go and find some bears, okay? So other exchanges, yeah, not a lot to see either. Let's have a look at Coinbase. So Coinbase have actually been putting some offers. They've actually pulled these offers down a little bit in the Asian session last night. CoinM have still got some selling. They've lost depth as well. But what I would say is on charts like this is, if they want to sell this zone, let's go and fill those offers. Yeah, I would say let's go fill those offers. So for me, yeah, this is nice to see. Let price come down a little bit. You know, it's been very calm price action, hasn't it? So let price come down a little bit and let's see if we can rise up and go and attack this. Even, I mean, to be honest, I'm saying, you know, intermediate levels 107, 108, but I've got a feeling we could go and attack under that 109. That'd be really, really nice. And then, as I say, we've got classic tier levels up there. If the selling gets aggressive up there, okay, then we'll look at shorts into the summer. Right, what I want to do is just go into a full window, a couple of other things I want to show you. So 15-minute basis here, volume. Okay, volume, the market's been pretty steady, but all I would say is through this run here into the weekend, and this is what I was saying to on Twitter, so give us a follow on Twitter and in the trade Discord as well. I was like, when you get into this zone, so this was our first initial zone, was the 105, 106, it didn't hold. You came down, you found a little bit of bid, and then you actually started to build some bullish divergences on the perpetuals market, on the spot market there, as the open interest came down and was absolutely nuked and low, and the open interest is low now, so that's why I'm not particularly looking for remaining shorts here. Okay, so volume still curling up. It'd be nice to see these retail trades start to get short here into the US session today, and then we maybe get a little kick back up. One thing of note, okay, and I will keep shilling it because it's a big warning sign, okay, is our liquidity chart. Okay, so we've had some liquidity warnings up here. Okay, that's what the hammer is. It's part of our alert system. Yeah, it's just a metric that I've got up here. So we've already had some warning signs up here as we go into the all-time highs. Okay, Open interest on our RSI metric very high. Perps market getting a little bit saucy and fruity, and even the spot market up there as well now. Okay, so what I would say is potentially on a higher time frame, obviously on a 4-hour basis here, if we get a rise up in the next 24, 48 hours into this 109 zone, even 108, 109 zone, 107, we'll watch the order flow as it goes. If you start to hit more supply up there, it's going to be a brilliant risk-reward short, I would say, into summer potentially, okay? So that's what I'd be looking for in the next 24, 48 hours. Maybe it takes a little bit longer. Maybe we'll run into the weekend, but the liquidity chart's certainly getting a little bit hot. The only thing to say is the open interest is down. That's why I think we could potentially get another squeeze up, okay? Go and hunt some bears, see how serious those bears are with their supply, and then we potentially roll over. But we need to get to those zones first to review it. All right, guys. So look, we'll be live in the US session a little bit later on. Join us there and we can review a couple of altcoins as well. I think there's been a couple of good ones. Maker was a brilliant long yesterday. I know a couple of the guys in the socials caught that one. ENA's been absolutely brilliant as well. Nice big volume on a couple of these coins. That's why they're at the top on my watch list. Sol following BTC, ETH just following BTC as well. Okay, so Sol taking out those last week's lows. ETH taking out last week's lows and flowing up. Sol finding some spot demand, just rolling into Sunday on the weekend there. So very, very valid day trade longs. But yeah, let's review here. I'd like to see Bitcoin down a little bit lower, see if this demand zone is going to get serious, and then we'll have a little pop-up. Join us in the live session a little bit later on. We can answer any console questions, and we'll go through alts in a little bit more depth. Are we getting an alt season? Do we care? Join us then. Cheers, guys.
I bet your margins are pretty nice and fat.
Let's not talk about my margins, by the way. Being nice and fat. That's a nice shirt. Do they make it for men?
And we say bye-bye.